You are telling people a lie to capitalize on them and to take money from people who have given you a platform. Without your audience, you would not be where you are. And with that in mind, knowing that this audience has literally given you a career and relevance in the industry that you apparently claim to love, you are still willing to stab them in the back and take their money by lying to them about something that is inherently untrue, because money to you is worth more than your morals. Kelty O'Connor actually did a video basically exposing fitness influencers, 14 lies, secret tips they're gatekeeping. And I figured, you know what, I agree with a lot of the points in here, and I think a lot of what Kelty said was very valid. Some points I wouldn't necessarily say they were like lies and tips they were gatekeeping, but I thought to myself, how can we do this but a little bit spicier? I've been in the fitness industry since my teenage years, and I've been qualified as a coach in the industry for over 10 years now. I've seen many lies float down the industry, I've seen people get caught out for their lies, and I know many people have been caught out for similar lies as well. So I'm going to present to you 5 lies that the fitness industry probably doesn't tell you. They're going to get progressively spicier. So if you want the real source, wait till the end. But in the meantime, all I'm going to say is if I present anything throughout this video that you didn't already know, then I'd appreciate if you did consider clicking the button down below to subscribe to the channel, as it does very much help the channel, and it does also make me feel like somebody loves me beyond my imaginary friends. Coming in at 5th place, and one of the biggest lies that the fitness industry doesn't tell you about, is diet fads. How many times have you been presented with a diet that seemingly promises you incredible results and things that you would deem to be unrealistic? And the reality is, you deem them to be unrealistic because they probably are. Weight Watchers, Slimming World, a juice cleanse, so maybe like Juice Plus or something along those lines, or maybe even just any kind of diet fad that is floating around your TikTok adverts right now. What do they all have in common? They're rarely sustainable because they're often the diets that people will promote to you saying, this diet was incredible, I did it 5 times. To which I'd argue, if it was really that incredible, you'd only do it once. A good diet is essentially a lifestyle change, something that's sustainable, that's something you don't need to repeat because you're not yo-yoing back and forth. The thing that people really neglect to understand is that dieting and losing weight is incredibly simple. It doesn't mean it's easy, but it is simple. And it genuinely is as simple as calorie deficit. Eat less calories than you burn off. Which means essentially eat less, move more. And if you say to me, Harry, I'm in a calorie deficit and I'm not losing weight, then I'll turn around and say to you, you're not in a calorie deficit. It is genuinely that simple. Someone turns around to me and says, Harry, I can't lose weight even in the calorie deficit, to which I will also argue, you're not in a calorie deficit. Someone will also turn around to me and say, Harry, calorie deficit doesn't work, to which I say, don't eat food for a week. Tell me if you lose weight or not. If you do, which you will, by default, you have proven that being in a calorie deficit works. Should you not eat food for a week? Absolutely not. If you're going to make a claim like that, let's take it to the extreme by putting you in the biggest deficit ever. Diet fads will plague the industry with so much misinformation, so many lies, because quite frankly, there is so much money in selling people false hope. And it is really sad. The fitness industry is one of those industries where they will capitalize and milk you for all your money because they know that you really are looking to improve your life and looking for a healthy way out, but you want to do it in the quickest and easiest way possible, because why wouldn't you? When in reality, these diet fads that they're presenting to you are lying to you. And I'm not saying they don't work, but the reason they might work is because whether you know it or not, they're putting you in a calorie deficit. And that's what really matters. So I say to people, it can be as simple as eat less, move more, maybe even lift some weights a bit too if you want to. But you actually don't need to. Number 4 on the list, we're coming in with lighting and Photoshop. Shockingly, when your brand and your career is essentially largely built on how you look, it is in potentially the influencer's best interest to look as good as possible as often as possible. And sometimes to achieve that, not only must they take photos that make them look bloody good, therefore the lighting to make those photos look bloody good must be on point, but they may potentially even alter those photos slightly to make themselves look even better. Maybe it could be something as simple as adding a filter. I've been guilty of that many times before. Why would I not want to add a filter to make my pale, pasty skin look like I may have seen the sun within the last 5 years, which I haven't? But sometimes they may take it to the extreme. They may maybe slim their waist a little bit, maybe bulk up their legs a bit, maybe bulk up their arms a bit, maybe reduce certain areas to give them a better shape, more of an hourglass if that's what they're trying to go for. That's where you get into a bit of further deception there, because that's not realistic. I've been to many an expo, I've met many an influencer where I've said to myself, wow, you look like a complete different person online. Maybe that's lighting, maybe that's Photoshop, who knows? But regardless, when your body is essentially your selling point, as for many people it is, you can begin to believe that people may manipulate their body and how it looks for marketing purposes. And I certainly don't condone it, but I can understand the pressures that influencers might be under that maybe make them feel like they have no other choice. Again, does that mean it's right? Absolutely not. Does that mean they should do that? Absolutely not. Number 3 on the list, a quite actually boring one, to be honest, genetics. Honestly, this is something that kind of grinds my gears a bit. Is that I'll have somebody come to me saying, Harry, why should I listen to you? This person obviously looks incredible. They must know what they're talking about. I'm going to tell you a secret. I've got a few friends. One of my friends, genuinely lovely person, looks fundamentally incredible. Like, honestly, incredible. I look at their physique and I'm like, I could only dream of that. And it's so funny because their lifting is shocking. They don't know what they're doing. They don't train very hard. And they miss half their sessions anyway. I remember looking at them and said, you could literally wipe your bum and grow muscle. And they were like, yeah, probably. It's because sometimes for some people, genetics really are that powerful. And they might be just a genetic elite who just with the lowest potentially subpar stimulus gets an amazing result. You cannot use somebody's appearance as a fundamental reasoning as to why you should listen to them. I remember saying to them once, because they said to me, I want to get into coaching. I said, you're going to have a really hard time doing that. They said, why? Why'd you say that? What do you mean? I said, because quite frankly, you are such a genetic freak. You could have done anything and achieved amazing results. People like you don't exist very often. And you're rarely, potentially even never going to work with another person like you with your level of genetic capabilities. Therefore, you've trained in a manner that would not work for most people because you've responded just to breathing. How are you going to change the life when looking at health and fitness and their physical appearance potentially of somebody with average genetics when you can't apply anything that you've done to what they're doing? And funnily enough, some influencers do have genetic capabilities that far surpass normal expectations, and they may actually respond incredibly to some pretty subpar bits and bobs, which does not mean they know what they're doing, just means that they're genetically gifted. Sure, they may work hard, which I respect, but it doesn't mean they're knowledgeable. And it doesn't mean that what worked for them is going to work for you, especially when there's such a genetic variance there. These top 2 are a little bit spicy. I'm going to cause a bit of a ruckus. Oftentimes you may see an influencer online that is promoting coaching. They've got hundreds of thousands of followers and they're saying, you know what, come be coached by me. I'll coach you one-to-one online to help you achieve your goals. And you think, fantastic, let's do it. Why would I not? I'm going to pay you $500 a month and you're going to coach me towards my goals because I followed you for years. You've got 1 million followers. Why would I not trust what you're doing? Funny story. And you're going to ask me how I know this. I'm allude to some of it, but I'm not going to tell you all of it because I don't want to get in trouble. Sometimes these influencers actually aren't really coaching you. They claim they're coaching you and you sign up under the belief that you are being coached by your favorite influencer, but they actually hire somebody else to coach you, pretending to be them, to write your programs, to respond to you, to analyze your form. You may never have a FaceTime with them, you may never have a Zoom call with them, but if you do, they might take 10, 20, 30 minutes out of their day just to hop on once in a blue moon just to chat to you so you believe it is them. When in reality, the person who's actually writing your program and doing all your analysis is probably actually their personal assistant. I know 3 names off the top of my head. One of them I know personally because a very close friend of mine is a very close friend of theirs. And when I tell you they are large in the industry, both when looking at physical appearance and also presence, you would be shocked to know that they don't coach any of their clients. Their PA does. You may have even seen this individual in some movies. And funnily enough, 2 people, one that's maybe not so relevant now, but one that is very relevant in the industry right now, actually got caught for doing this as well. And I'm not going to allude to who, but they're a very positive name in the industry, a very positive name in gym culture. And many years ago, they were actually in a bit of trouble because they got caught for doing just this. They would get people to sign up for this coaching challenge and transformation and online coaching kind of realm just to find out that the person who was actually coaching them was their personal assistant and they weren't actually being coached by the influencer they thought. And yes, you probably do know who I'm talking about. And yes, if you think it's them, it might well be. But again, this was so many years ago. Why would you know about it? Because it's not relevant anymore. Very quickly, throw it out there. Link down below, you've got a few things. You've got the link to work with myself, Ryder or Beth on a one-to-one basis where we can coach you online towards your goals. You've also got the link to the TFNL group coaching, which costs less than $1 a day. And you've got the options to work out both at home or at the gym, whichever tickles your pickle. You've also got the options to look at the TFNL workout guides. If any of those tickle you, have a gander down below and let's see if your pickle is indeed tickled. And number 1, arguably the most spicy, but also arguably the most predictable. There's this big idea in the industry that performance-enhancing drugs and that maybe even surgery, potentially, who knows, is very much dominated by the men in the industry. But that's not true. When you think about women in the industry, you don't often link to anabolic steroids or other performance-enhancing drugs. But shockingly, many women in the industry might actually indeed be tickling some of the Jesus juice, some of the naughty sauce, and claiming they're natural when they're not. Because fundamentally, as I kind of brought up in the Photoshop shop discussion is that when your body is your selling point, sometimes there's the pressure to enhance that body artificially to then further maybe prolong your potentially short life in the industry, but also maybe to increase sales and give you a bit more financial support and stability, knowing that you may not be relevant for too long. And oftentimes people say, well, why lie about it? Why claim you're natural when you are not? Because you might look at this person, and if they say, oh, by the way, I'm on performance-enhancing drugs, you'll probably discredit them by saying, oh, they haven't worked hard, they're just on drugs. That's not true. And the other thing they might do is they might turn around and say, well, you know what? I didn't take drugs to look like this. I actually used these supplements. So if you give me multiple $100s a month, you too might look like me, because again, all I did to get here was take these supplements, no drugs. Immediately you're going to turn around and be like, well, bloody brilliant. They took supplements. I'm going to take supplements. We're going to achieve the same results. No. In reality, what actually got them there? Genetics, hard work, and maybe a little bit of dedication too. And when I say dedication, I mean drugs. Is that a negative? Yes and no. I have no negative opinions surrounding performance-enhancing drugs. I'm a big believer in it's your body, your choice, and you must do what's best for you, provided you acknowledge and are fully comfortable in taking the risk. Who am I to tell you should or shouldn't do that? But what I do not like is when people lie about it. Do not claim you're natural when you're not, because that's deceptive. You are telling people a lie to capitalize on them and to take money from people who have given you a platform. Without your audience, you would not be where you are. And with that in mind, knowing that this audience has literally given you a career and relevance in the industry that you apparently claim to love, you are still willing to stab them in the back and take their money by lying to them about something that is inherently untrue, because money to you is worth more than your morals. I don't appreciate that. I don't align with that. I don't respect that. But what I do appreciate is either be honest about your drug use. I respect it. I do not discredit that. Funnily enough, everyone has this idea that, oh, they only got this way because of drugs. Drugs will probably do a lot less for you than you might think. If you're not willing to be open about it, I fully understand that and respect that. Because not only is it illegal in some countries, you may also be discredited, which I think is wildly unfair in many cases, but you may also be seen as normalizing something that is quite scary. But if that is the case and you don't want to be open about it, again, fully respect and understand, just don't say anything about it at all. Don't mention it, don't talk about it. If someone asks if you're natural, you don't want to talk about it, don't answer. That simple. Does what I'm saying apply to all of your favorite influencers? Absolutely not. There are so many fantastic individuals in the industry, so many fantastic influencers I have spoken to, I maybe have met, or have heard stories about that just genuinely seem like lovely people that I could not say a bad thing about if I tried. But there are also some little snakes in the grass. If you see somebody promoting something that seems too good to be true, bloody well might be. And sadly, will things change? Probably not. The fitness industry is a bit of a tricky industry. It's an industry that unfortunately capitalizes off many insecurities that you and I may have. It's an industry that will potentially even enhance those insecurities to bring more money to it, which is very unfortunate. But all we can do is debunk some information, debunk some misinformation, and hopefully provide some good knowledge that essentially, although may not be what you want to hear, might be what you need to hear, because sadly it might be the truth. And unfortunately for many, the truth may not be fun and exciting, it may be simple, but it is bloody effective, and it is going to hopefully help you achieve what you want to achieve in the arguably healthiest and sustainable manner possible. And that's pretty important if you ask me. But again, like all my videos, these are just my opinions, and I'd love to hear yours. So I'm going to ask you, drop a comment down below and let me know what you think the biggest lie in the fitness industry is, because I'm curious to know your thoughts. But until the next one, thank you for tolerating me. Thank you for tolerating the fact that I've stolen Kelty's idea, because it's a bloody good one. And thank you for tolerating the video.